Morris, and I'm going to talk about UX techniques for clearer, and more usable data for people. Just as an introduction first, I'm the head of design at a software company based in Oxford. I'm a UX designer for over 13 years of experience, and OCC works mostly with health, engineering, sciences, and social care projects. So our projects are very complex in terms of data, and there are usually large data sets that you need to work with. So one of the projects, for example, for National Grid, which is at the bottom, it was a visualization of the gas network in the country. So stakeholders could interact with the data, turning things on and off, like turning power stations off or on in that visualization to make investment decisions. So we had to arrange the data in a way that users could understand what the different elements meant. So what were the power stations or compressors or directions of the gas flow. And another project that we worked on was an EU-funded project, which is at the top, we're working on it. It's a cloud-based emergency management service to gather and mine social media during large-scale crises. So we found out that people were using social media when there was an emergency. They were tweeting or posting on Facebook, and that could help with the emergency services. So we need to visualize thousands of social media posts in a way that is meaningful to the different user groups who would be looking at that data. So these are some of our clients that I mentioned. So we work a lot with National Grid, a lot of projects for health as well. So our job when we're designing with complex data and designing data visualizations is to make complex simple. The only way to do that is by understanding who are the people who are going to work with that data. What are they looking for? Information needs to be easily digested for people who you interact with. So if you understand who your users are, their goals using the application or the data, you'll be able to work out the hierarchy of information, how to display data effectively, and help them explore or find information that they're looking for. So different users have different needs, expectations, and behaviors, and these are the things that we try to find out at the beginning of the project. And I'll talk through some UX techniques to find those out. So depending on the app, we might be dealing with very busy people who need to get an answer quickly, and the data needs to be efficient, the app needs to be efficient for them. Or they might have time to explore the data. So instead of having assumptions, let's find out with people what they're looking for, what their expectations are. So we start by organizing identifying the user groups who we are designing for. So I'm going to talk about some UX techniques that very practical that you use in our day-to-day job. How to get your team involved in the UX process, and effective communication between team members, between people who have come from different disciplines. I'm not sure how much you're familiar with the work that the government digital services are doing. They're giving us great examples of putting the user in the center of what they do. They are redesigning all the government websites, starting from users' needs. So this is one of their posters, which is user research is a team sport. So everyone in the team should be thinking about the people who are going to use the application. I really like this tweet by Caroline Jarrett. She's a specialist in forms design. And she says, the user researcher's policy is my job is to learn about users. Whereas the truth is, my job is to help my team learn about users. So it's important that when you are meeting users and you are an advocate for user experience, you are getting your team involved in that process. So one of our first design principles at OCC is that we meet users early and often. So it's important that we do user research and validate our assumptions throughout the project. So that's how our process looks like. We start by doing some user research, so we start by identifying the user groups, run some user interviews, so understand what people are looking for, their expectations, their needs. Create some very lean personas that can be shared with the development team. Map out a user journey, and that is the minimum that we do, and we try to do the minimum design upfront as possible. Then we do a user story mapping workshop, which is a way to plan the development process, prioritize the releases. And it then starts the cycle of build, measure, learn. That's the lean startup process. So we like to go where users are. We meet them, we talk to them in their natural environment. So this was a project that we worked for National Grid. It was a tablet app for gas engineers to calculate the compositions of gas that are coming into the country. So we met there, engineers, we went to a power station. And the people who went to the power station to meet the user was the designer, UX designer, it was me at the time, the project manager, the account manager, and the lead developer. Now it's really important that everyone was there, not only the designer, because the application is pretty complex in terms of the calculations and the technical side of it. So there is no way a designer would gather all the requirements from users. So the technical lead could get those requirements, the details of the requirements. And we also run user interviews. So this was when we went to the PAF Northeast Somerset Council. We're testing one of our products for social care, for the finance management and social care. And we needed to find out if our product was working with a blind user. So if it was working with JAWS, the screen reader. So we went there to meet the user, and we tested the product. Now it's really important that Cole, who was from support team, that he was there, because after the design process, if the user has any problems, they're going to call support. It's important that the support team knows user needs. We also run usability testing. This was a project that we did for the Oxford University Hospitals, one of the NHS trusts. And we spent a day there with doctors, interviewing a series of doctors for this application. We encourage our development team to attend and observe and participate in the usability testing. Sometimes we run remote usability testing, so if it's a tablet app, we have a camera that can be attached to the tablet, so we can see the user's hands. And we also save all the recordings in the same place that the team can access the recordings of the usability testing at any point. So one thing that we started doing is that we stream back to the office every time we go out of the office and do user research. This, of course, depends on the confidentiality of the project. When we can, what we do is we book a meeting room in the office, send an email around to the whole office and say, there is this research going on. You can just go there, sit in, observe, take notes, take notes, questions or anything. User journeys are a really good way to understand users' goals and to bring clarity to the development team. So when we create a user journey map, we're thinking from the different user groups and personas. We are understanding what it triggers them to use the application, what triggers them to come to your data visualization or whatever you're designing, what their goals are, and what actions does it need to take for them to achieve their goals. So our aim is to streamline that process and make sure that it's the minimum or it's the most efficient way for them to achieve the goals. And sketching is a really good way to integrate design, UX design with the development team, because we can always sketch together. So it's not really about, I sketch one thing and you sketch another thing and you see what idea is the best one. We're actually sketching together and coming to a conclusion together. It's important because you bring the different perspectives to the room. You have the technical perspective, the design perspective, the business perspective, and that way we can make a better product. And as a designer, something that I learned was to feel comfortable sharing unfinished work. We, as designers, we tend to want to finish and make a really good piece of work before we share with anyone else. And what's important is that you're comfortable with that. And depending on the level of fidelity you are working on, so if you're doing a sketch or a prototype, that's going to have different levels of collaboration and how inviting it is. So a sketch, for example, is much more inviting and it suggests solutions rather than the final solution. It questions and it invites collaboration from the rest of the team. Whereas prototyping is much more focused on a direction. And we love whiteboards. Who doesn't? This is what I use is the product canvas. This was created by Roman Pitchler. So it's just a way of dividing the whiteboard so it integrates UX in the development process. So at the top you have the project goal, so everyone's looking towards the same goal. We have the metrics, how do you know we succeeded? We have the user groups on the side, so we're always coming back to people we met in the user interviews. So when we are having our daily stand-ups in front of this board, we might be saying, Regent, who we met in the interview, wouldn't do that. So we might need to tweak this task in here. Then in the middle, we have the big picture, the user journey, sketches, and then the tasks, the development tasks on the side. And then you can bring, what you produced in terms of wireframes or user journeys to the planning meeting. So everyone is much clearer on what they're building. Stakeholders workshops are a very good way to get every stakeholder into an agreed decision in a prioritized way. So the way we do this, we run this, is the classic, writing down in post-it notes their ideas or whatever the objective of the stakeholder is, the workshop is. And then each person reads out loud their ideas, put on the board, we group those ideas into themes and ask them to vote on the most important idea or whatever it is with dots and stickers. At the end of the workshop, we have a list of prioritized ideas or features that you need to work on. And then we're always learning the process, iterating and improving the design process. Now, since we've started working in multidisciplinary teams, so designers, developers, managers, clients working together, it becomes essential that we know how to communicate to each other. It's very comfortable to talk to people from the same discipline as you, but But there are challenges when there are people from different backgrounds, mindsets, and people who express themselves differently. So the tone that you use is very important, that will allow or not collaboration. So these are the two tones that I'm calling the facilitator tone or the leader tone. So the facilitator is someone who is a guide for the group in a neutral position. They get everyone to contribute to the discussion and to assume responsibility. The leader is someone who leads the discussion, gives direction. So in different situations, we need to use different tones. So the facilitator language invites collaboration. So it's warm and neutral. You are actively listening, and you have a passive and inclusive tone. So you might say, how about maybe we can, what if? This is very useful when we are in workshops, UX workshops, or when you are in a briefing meeting with the client. They come with their ideas, they want to share their ideas, and you need to actively listen to them. On the other hand, you have a much more authoritative language, which shows competence. It shows that you are the expert. So it's a much more direct and muscular language. So I might say things like, that's absolutely right, and here's why, or I completely agree, or this is my plan. So it's a much more directive language. It's very useful when you're presenting your designs to clients, for example, because they want to trust that you know what you're talking about. But in client meetings, you might need to alternate between the two tones, depending on what the objective of that conversation is. Another thing we've been doing that is very helpful to get people more involved in UX is the fresh eye sessions. So this is about showing, getting some fresh eyes on a design or on a project that you're working on. It goes beyond the project team. So we send an email to the company, to everyone in the company, and say, there is this fresh eye session going on. We need some feedback on the designs that you're working on. Anyone can attend. We limit it to about 5 to 10 people. This comes from a very good article from Shopify that you can find in the Medium website. And in this workshop, there are only 2 rules. The first is that you need to ask first, comment last. So instead of saying, I don't agree with this here, ask why that button is that place. Why is it blue rather than blue doesn't work, or because the designer might already thought about those points that you're raising. And the second rule is you can't use like. So it's not about personal taste. So you can't use I like or I don't like. I don't like blue. Yeah, whatever. I don't like, It's not about personal taste. Another thing that I find really useful in terms of communication is the idea of giving a bit of time before you give the feedback, so it's constructive. There is a good article called Give It 5 Minutes, and I'll just read a part from it. So he said, give it 5 minutes. It's fine to disagree. It's fine to push back. It's great to have strong opinions and beliefs. But give my idea some time to set in before you're sure you want to argue against them. 5 minutes represented think, not react. So design has the power to evoke emotion in people, because that's why the design is there for. So if you are just talking from our emotions, it's going to be a lot about our personal opinions. And in any communication, I see it as a negotiation. So if someone loses, you did it wrong. So true collaboration is about getting an agreement between 2 people and to work, understand each other, and to work together. So my takeaways today would be meet users regularly, Involve users throughout the design process. Let's think about the people who are going to use this data that we're building. Collaborate with other disciplines. Get other perspectives in the design process. And be aware of how you speak and communicate effectively with your team.